Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Nacho Problems, where we turn ordinary recipes into extraordinary nachos. I'm Nacho Queen, but you can call me M. We're continuing our African tour, but we've gone from the far south all the way up north to Morocco, because this week we're making Zaalouk Nachos. Zaalouk is a Moroccan dish made from eggplant and tomatoes. I've seen it called both a dip and a salad. I feel like it's more like a dip, but that means we're going to need something to dip into it. And for that, I've chosen khobz, which is a traditional Moroccan bread. So let's get started. Step 1, the chips. The khobz will be our chips, and for that we need 4 cups of bread flour, 2 teaspoons salt, 2 teaspoons sugar, 1 teaspoon yeast, 2 tablespoons olive oil, 1 1/4 cups warm water, and some semolina. Start with a large mixing bowl and add your flour, salt, and sugar, and mix well. Now make a little well in the center of the flour and add your yeast. Pour about 1/4 cup of your warm water into the well and start to lightly work it in with your fingers. Then add the remaining water and oil and mix well. After the first few stirs, it will be much easier to use your hands. Add more flour or water if needed to make a soft but not sticky dough. Once it's mostly come together, move it to the counter and knead it for 5 to 10 minutes. Then cut it in half and place the 2 halves on a baking sheet that's been sprinkled with semolina flour. Cover and let rise in a warm place for about an hour. After an hour, poke each loaf several times with a fork, which is kind of out of shot here. Sorry, we'll punish cameraman for that later. Then it's into the oven that's been preheated to 425 for about 20 minutes or until golden brown. That's our chips. We'll leave these to cool and move on to Step 2, the cheese. The Zaalouk will be our cheese, and for that we need 1 eggplant or aubergine, 1 medium tomato, this is from my own garden, 3 cloves garlic, 1 1/2 teaspoons parsley, half a teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 teaspoon cumin, 4 tablespoons olive oil, and a splash of lemon juice. You can also add 1 1/2 teaspoons of cilantro. You guys know how I feel about cilantro. And cayenne pepper or fresh hot chilies if you want to add some heat. We'll start by roasting our eggplant. Line a baking sheet with foil. This makes cleanup much easier. Then take the eggplant, remove the stem, and cut it in half lengthwise. Place it on the baking sheet, cut side down. We're going to place it on the top rack of the oven under the broiler and cook for 15 to 20 minutes or until the skin is papery and charred. Make sure it's not actually touching the flame or the heating element. We're trying to roast it, not set the house on fire. While that's cooling, we can start our tomato. I'm going to dice it up into chunks, removing as many of the seeds as possible. I'm actually going to save some of these to replant for next year. Next, drizzle the olive oil into a large skillet, then add in the tomatoes, parsley, cumin, paprika, salt, and garlic. You would also add the cilantro and peppers at this point if using them. Give it all a good stir and cook over medium heat for 15 to 20 minutes. You want the tomatoes to break down into a nice sauce. By now the eggplants should be cool enough to handle, so take a large spoon and scoop the flesh out of the skin and add it to the pan. Do not do what I did, which is try to scoop it directly into the pan, because you're likely to get some of the skin in the pan and then you have to pick it out. Anyway, once it is in the pan, use your spoon or spatula to break it up as you stir. Now add in your lemon juice and cook for about 5 minutes, stirring constantly to make a lovely rich sauce. And that's our cheese. Next up is Step 3, the toppings. For our toppings, we're just going to add a drizzle of olive oil and a sprinkle of parsley. So there's nothing left to do but Step 4, let's eat. We'll start by slicing up some of the khobz for our chips. Oddly, a piece went missing in between it coming out of the oven and us filming this. No one knows what could have become of it, but Youngson was seen leaving the scene of the crime. We'll arrange a few of these on our plate. Top them with some of the Zaalouk, a drizzle of olive oil, and a sprinkle of parsley. Jimmy Buffett is up as taste tester today. He thought it was really good. If I do make it again, it will definitely double the recipe as we had a lot more bread than dip left. It also might be good if you toast the bread a little. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a like and please consider subscribing if you want to see more nacho videos. If you have any idea for a future video, you can leave a comment below, or I've linked my Blue Sky in the description. You won't find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Threads, but depending on whether it still exists and whether I'm still tolerating Elon's antics, you might find me on the site formerly known as Twitter. I'm at NachoProblemsYT. If you're looking to steal my apron, well, that's Nacho merch, but you can get your own at a link in the description. Now, I am only 2 weeks into my last semester for my master's degree, and I already feel at least 3 weeks behind. But I hope for your sake, that's not your problem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.